Novablast 5 is finally a return to the wild side. If there's a shoe I know, it's the ASICS Novablast. I've covered thousands of kilometers over all the editions of the Novablast, from 5K training up to ultramarathon. And from my experience, the first 100 kilometers in the Novablast 5 is the most impressive edition yet. The specs, straight from the ASICS website, it is a neutral maximum cushion shoe coming in at 255 grams or 9 ounces. The stack height at the heel is 41.5 millimeters and at the forefoot 33.5 millimeters for an 8 millimeter heel to toe drop. There's an updated geometry to the outer sole as well as improved grip on the outer sole. If you compare that with the Novablast 4, you'll see the differences in the design there, but you still get that trampoline bounce effect for energy return as should be expected from the Novablast model. The grip on the shoe has provided no problems. I've used it in speed down to easy runs, and I've run it in different conditions as well, wet, damp and dry. No problems with the cornering, no slippage at all. I've also found it's a bit more roomier in the toe box. A couple of reviews that I've watched have actually commented on they found the toe box a bit too wide and they might have had to wear thicker socks or lace it a bit tighter. I've got a slightly wider foot, so I actually found it more comfortable as well. But other than that, it's pretty much true to size, and I don't think the width of the toe box is a significant thing to really concern yourself about. ASICS have updated the foam on the shoe to the FF Blast or Flight Foam Blast Max as compared to the Flight Foam Blast Eco on the Novablast 4. Provides a softer landing and therefore reduces the impact, or you get a greater impact absorption in this cushioning. Cushioning also provides a more energized toe off compared to the Novablast 4. We'll talk more about that when we talk about what it's like to run in. We're still looking at an eco-friendly shoe in conjunction with the materials and the process used in manufacturing the upper. With the upper, ASICS have gone back to the engineered jacquard mesh, which is just the process of manufacturing the upper and material used, which is different from the Novablast 4. ASICS have stuck with the half-gusseted tongue wing design that they used in the Novablast 4. It's a thin but softly comfortable padded tongue there as well. Still gives you a nice comfortable lockdown. Now that we've got the specs out of the way, what do these bad boys like to run in? I've covered 100 kilometers in the Novablast 5. I've done easy runs, long runs, recovery runs, tempo runs, threshold runs, hill sprints, speed repeats, threshold intervals, just about every type of run you can imagine. I used it in those runs just to test how the shoe would perform over a variety of different types of run workouts. What makes this shoe so versatile to use in all those runs? Having trained and ran in all the editions of the Novablast, what makes the Novablast 5 so impressive is that throughout that array and variety of running workouts, it's proved its versatility that it can handle anything. There's something about the Flight Foam Blast Max as compared to the Flight Foam Blast Eco in the Novablast 4 that provides a more cushioned and comfortable ride. I just love wearing the shoe. Even when I'm going out for longer runs, longer than an hour, where I would normally ditch the Novablast 4 and take on the Superblast 2, I'm actually including this in runs up to 90 minutes now. I could go longer in it, it's just that the Superblast 2, I have it, so I'm going to use it. The comfort and cushioning that it provides in the ride runs a very close second to the Superblast 2. The cushion and comfort, the Flight Foam Blast Max is definitely an improvement on the Flight Foam Blast Eco that we found in the Novablast 4. I found that after maybe 50 to 100 Ks even, that it was starting to flatten out a bit. I wasn't getting the response that I was getting straight out of the box. But with the Novablast 5, that ride and comfort and cushion that I was getting out of the box, that's lasted 100 Ks and doesn't look like giving up soon. The response and energy that I get from the toe off on the Novablast 5 is also an improvement in the run ride on the Novablast 4. The lockdown, like I said, with that soft tongue padding, and the upper, no problems with the lace down and getting the shoe locked in. I'm still keeping the Superblast 2 in my rotation, number one, because I paid the big bucks for it. The Novablast 5 really closes that gap and I'd say is even more similar to the Superblast 2 than it is to the Novablast 4. There's subtle but significant differences between the Superblast 2 and the Novablast 5. With the Superblast 2, you have a performance foam with the Flight Foam Turbo that's used in their carbon race shoes, and in the Novablast 5, you've got the Flight Foam Blast Max. But the ride feels very similar between the two. And honestly, some days if I'm out for an easy run or a long run, it's a toss-up whether I use the Novablast 5 or whether I use the Superblast 2. The Superblast 2 just provides a bit more energy and cushioning than the Novablast 5. The Superblast 2 is also 5 grams lighter, and with a higher stack height, also provides a more cushioned comfort for more lengthy runs. We need to remember too that the Superblast 2 is a performance trainer. You pay the dollars for it, you pay for the materials and the cushioning and the rest of it to get that performance out of the shoe as compared to a Novablast 5. However, those subtle but significant differences, the gap is really closed between these two shoes. So unless you really want to fork out the money for that performance trainer, you could stick with the Novablast 5. Before I cover how the Novablast 5 could fit into your training, if the review's been helpful, please hit that like button. At the end of the video, check out the channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe. You could easily run up to half marathon in the Novablast 5, no probs, but remember, it's not a performance shoe. It is still primarily a daily trainer from ASICS. If you want to up your performance, then you'd be looking at the Superblast 2 for that slightly lighter weight and the cushioning and performance that comes with it. But the rides are very similar, the cushion and comfort, very similar. Again, you could use this as your daily trainer. How do I fit it into my shoe rotation? I pretty much still use it as a daily trainer. I use it for anything up to an hour, but if there's particular speed or speed-oriented intervals that I'm after, I'll switch to either the Superblast 2 or I'll throw on the carbon plates with the Metaspeed Edge for me. The Novablast 5 is finally a return to the wild side for the ASICS Novablast. It's got that cushion, comfort, and responsiveness that the original had and a couple of the previous models had, but it's just another level with the Novablast 5. You could definitely use, and I would recommend using the Novablast 5 as a neutral max cushion shoe up to distance of half marathon, possibly even marathon if you weren't chasing those quicker, pacier times, but finished lines rather than finished times. If you are after that performance, then go for your Superblast 2. Remember, with faith as small as a mustard seed, you too can reach your running goals.